So despite United actually picking up the victory in this game, I actually thought the overall performance was worse than against Southampton and Burnley. And but for a few minutes in the second half when Ronaldo scored an absolutely great individual goal, before Lewis Dunk got sent off, United would probably have drawn or even lost this game. Now Brighton were a significantly better side than either Southampton or Burnley, and you'll see that with my analysis. And what this game showed was that when United do come up against a side who can control a possession like Graham Potter's side, they are going to struggle. But before I go any further, for cheap good quality football jerseys, retro jerseys and tracksuits, go over to www.jerseyfever.com. I myself have bought a number of different jerseys from Jersey Fever, including this 2003-2004 Manchester United shirt with Ronaldo on the back, and this one's probably my favourite. So if you want a shirt like this, be sure to click the link in the description below and use code ATLANTISFOOTBALL with a space to get 5% off. So going into the game, United set up in their familiar 4-3-3 shape that they have been using over previous games. The only difference was that Fred started over Pogba, and you'll see why I think this was the wrong decision by Ranić. But Graham Potter's side set up in a 4-4-2 diamond, with Bissouma at the base of midfield and Mulder, Gross and McAllister sitting ahead of him. In the first half, but certainly in the first 20 minutes, Brighton controlled possession as United sat off in a 4-1-4-1 shape, allowing Brighton centre-backs Dunk and Webster to move forward with the ball out of the defensive third and into the middle third. Brighton's 4-4-2 diamond shape would become a 2-3-3-2 shape when they had possession in the middle third, with Bissouma sitting as the deepest central midfielder, with Mulder, McAllister and Gross pushing up between the lines. And we would also see Maupay and Trossard on occasion drop off from the forward line as well, meaning that sometimes Brighton had 3 or 4 players sitting between the United midfield and defensive line. Now the reason that in the first half United struggled to retain possession wasn't just because Brighton's deeper lying players were very proficient at playing forward passes and controlling the ball under pressure, but also because this was exactly what United's deeper players were lacking. I thought in general throughout the game, Fred and McTominay were quite poor. McTominay was poor in these deeper areas as he did play as a single pivot, and here we see the ball gets headed down into him and he takes a touch but he doesn't look over his shoulder. He isn't aware of the pressure coming from the Brighton player behind, and he gets caught on the ball in a dangerous position, allowing Brighton to then work the ball into Maupay and get at Manchester United's back line. United also struggled to play out of their defensive third during their build-up phase, with Brighton pressing in a narrow 4-2-3-1 shape. It was usually Maupay who would lead the pressure, with Brighton looking to force United over to one of the sides. And as we can see here, Brighton did an excellent job positionally of cutting off the passing lanes and stopping United being able to progress the ball out of their defensive third. Here Maupay is cutting off the pass across to Maguire, forcing Lindelof over to the right side. Trossard is then positioned to cut off the ball down the line, with McAllister cutting off the passing lane into McTominay and Mulder cutting off that pass into Fred. This leaves Lindelof with the only option of passing out to Dalot, and then from here this allows Brighton to squeeze across to the left hand side, compressing the play and leaving Dalot's only option to go back to De Gea. Now the fact that De Gea's kicking was so poor in this game didn't help United either, as it meant that any time United were being pressurised in the build-up phase, De Gea's kick would simply lead to Brighton regaining possession in United's half. When United were then able to progress the ball into the middle third, we would then see Brighton drop off into a 4-3-1-2 shape. Now overall, Brighton's pressure and defensive shape was very well organised, and there was a great understanding between the players of not only when and how to press, but also how to position yourself in order to cut off the passing lane into players behind you, and this is essential for a quality press, something that United didn't have in this game. After about 20 minutes, we did see United engage Brighton higher up the pitch, but they didn't have anywhere near the success that Brighton did. You see here Manchester United are pressing in a kind of V shape, with Ronaldo and Elanga pressing the 2 centre-backs and Fred in behind them. Fred moves to press Roberto Sanchez, but there's multiple problems that we can see. First of all, when Fred moves out of his position to pressure, he has no awareness of Bissouma behind him, and so therefore doesn't cut the passing lane into the Brighton defensive midfielder, and so Sanchez is easily able to bypass United's frontline press with one pass into Bissouma. But then as you can see here, United's first pressuring line and their second pressuring line is completely disconnected, and no one's backing up the press, and it allows Bissouma to simply turn out and drive forward, with Fernandes far too deep to be able to stop Bissouma turning. And then from here there's a massive gap between McTominay and Fernandes, and neither player is cutting off the passing lane into McAllister. allowing Basuma to move the ball into United's half with one simple pass. Even though the whole press is completely disjointed, I think it's more of McTominay's job to be cutting that passing lane into McAllister in behind him. He doesn't do this. McAllister's able to turn and then feeds the ball out to the left hand side, and suddenly Brighton have gone from inside their own box to United's box within a couple of passes. Something that should never be able to happen. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about the 4 issues with United's midfield, both in and out of possession, as I've covered that enough. You can check my analysis of the previous games against Burnley and Southampton if you want to see more on that. And I've also done a video looking at the ball-winning central midfielder that Manchester United should be looking to sign. And I've also got a video that should be out either now or in a few hours, hopefully, on James Garner, analysing whether he is the solution for Manchester United. So I'll leave that video linked in the description below and in the eye above. But I thought United also struggled in midfield when they had the ball, particularly Fred and McTominay. I've already discussed McTominay getting caught on the ball in his own defensive third, but Fred played a little higher. United have been using a 4-3-3 lately rather than a 4-2-3-1, and so McTominay's been used as a single pivot rather than Fred and McTominay there as a double pivot, and so Fred was pushing higher up alongside Fernandes, and in possession Fred didn't suit this position at all. We see here that after a lax pass from Basuma, Fred has got a great opportunity to run at the Brighton back line, and from this position Ronaldo makes a fantastic run, but Fred just takes too long to find the pass, and in the end it gets blocked by Webster and the chance is gone. I think if Pogba had been in this situation, I think he would have found Ronaldo and it would likely have led to a chance, and this is why I can't understand why Ranić would have gone with Fred over Pogba. Initially I thought it was maybe that Pogba had a little knock or something, but he came on in the second half, and when he was on the pitch he instantly improved United's attack with his ability to play through passes to find runners in behind the back line in a way that Fred just can't. But even though I said United did struggle to play out of Brighton's press, United did have joy when they transitioned the attack quickly. Unlike against Burnley and Southampton in previous games, Sancho was a main catalyst behind this. Here he starts the attack in United's box and plays a pass into Fred. Fred's ball goes into Fernandes and Sancho continues his lung-bursting run, accelerating past Veltman, and Fernandes' pass into space is perfect. Sancho's then able to drive at the Brighton back line. And as I've said in previous videos, when Sancho is in this position running at the opposition back line in a counter-attack, his vision and weight of pass is perfect. And he's unlucky not to find Elanga, who's covered well by Cucurella coming from the left side. But despite Sancho's improvement in form since the start of 2022, I do think he has to improve his finishing ability, being more decisive when the chances come. He had a gilt-edge opportunity when Webster miscontrolled the ball. Ronaldo was running at Brighton and played a great reverse pass into Sancho, and Sancho should be scoring this opportunity, even though it was a fantastic save by Sanchez. But going into half-time, United were on the back foot, Brighton were controlling possession, and they got booed off as they walked down the tunnel. And initially at the start of the second half it did look like the game would continue this way. However, after 2 incidents within 2 or 3 minutes of each other, the game completely changed, and both stemmed from United's pressing. Also, if you do like the look of these phone cases, I'll leave the link in the description below. Anything you buy will help support the channel. My personal favourite is the Ronaldo Sue celebration one, even though I do also like the Fergie one as well. But be sure to go over to the site linked in the description. They've got a lot of other designs as well, and if you use code AF at checkout, you should get 25% off as well. You can see here that as Basuma receives the ball, McTominay, Fred and Fernandes are close to United's frontline press. As Basuma turns, Fred pushes up onto Trossard, cutting off that pass, and Basuma does invite pressure by taking too long on the ball. United swarm him and McTominay makes a tackle, the ball falls for Ronaldo. He drives at the Brighton back line, shifts the ball quickly and then smashes it into the bottom corner. And this goal not only shows the value of United's counter press, but also the value of having Ronaldo in your side, because arguably no other player in the United squad would score from this position. And so simply, just by having Ronaldo on the pitch, United were able to completely change the course of the game. Brighton then get caught out just a few minutes later by another United press. As the ball gets moved over to Lewis Dunk, Elanga times his press perfectly. He doesn't move too early and so invites a pass into Dunk, but as soon as the ball starts travelling, he makes his move so that when Dunk does turn out with the ball, Elanga is right on his toes, nicks the ball, and then he's fouled by Dunk and it's an obvious red card, and from here the game completely changes. United are able to dominate possession, however they don't make this count. You can see here from this XG time chart that after Brighton's red card they failed to create really any chance of any significance until later on in the game, and United continued to create chances and in the last 30 minutes created around 1.80 XG in chances, but failed to take any of them until the last minute when Bruno Fernandes scored. And this game was a lot tighter than it should have been, particularly with Brighton being down to 10 men for the majority of the second half. And this has been a main issue with United, particularly in recent games, giving up leads to Burnley and Southampton. They have to be more decisive when they were on top, taking their chances and killing off the game, which they didn't do in this game until right at the end. And we saw Brighton hit the bar and then Danny Welbeck had a header. Either of those could have gone in and it could have been a disastrous result for United. And so in reality, it seemed like United stumbled to victory. Some of my takeaways from this game is that Pogba simply has to start for United in central midfield. Fred and McTominay, when they play together, just completely lack creativity, and it's a liability for United at this point. Fred is not good enough when he pushes up the field. He's not got the quick interplay to move the ball forward. He hasn't got that vision or passing ability to create chances. And McTominay, similarly to Fred, other than when he's pressing, is a liability for United. In possession, they too often go for the sideways pass, not looking for that incisive or long pass that could progress the ball forward for United. And so United's best attacks are limited to when they are transitioning the attack quickly, largely through Sancho, who is excellent at driving the attacks forward. But I still think that Pogba is United's best creative and ball progressing midfielder in those deeper positions. And I think United have to try as hard as possible to get Pogba, Fernandes, Sancho and Ronaldo on the pitch at the same time, as they look like a completely different side when one or more of them are missing. Now, as I said, be sure to check out my videos on the ball-winning central midfield and the creative central midfielder that Manchester United should sign. I did talk about a few different options in those videos, and I've also got a video coming out shortly on James Garner, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and check the description as well to see some more videos I think you may enjoy.